Hi everyone, back to channel. Today we are going to discuss about Chlorhunchus sinuses. It is also known as Oriental liver flu. Actually, this causes a disease known as chlorhunchiasis. So let us start. Actually, this was first found by McConnell in autopsy of a Chinese carpenter in Calcutta Medical College. So he was the first person to find this one, that it is present in Chinese people. Adult form of this chlorhunchiasis lives in the bile duct and cause the chlorhunchiasis. So the Chlorhunchus sinuses is also called the Chinese liver fluke. It was found from the bile duct of a Chinese in Calcutta. So prevalence of chlorhunchiasis has continued for more than 2300 years in China. It was widely distributed in China, Japan, Korea and also in Vietnam. So let us see all this now. First, morphology. This is the adult worm and this is the egg and this is the Serratia rava. So first, the adult worm, here you can see it has an oral sucker and an intestine and the ventral sucker, uterus, and here the vitellia and the middle third, and the ovary lobed and testis branched. And now the adult worm. The fluke can survive in the biliary tract for as long as 30 years. So this is very important. It may live in average of 20 to 30 years in our liver. So this causes a greater damage to our liver. It may also lead to carcinoma of the liver. So the adult worm, it is flat with pointed anterior end, here you can see, and a rounded posterior end, measuring about 10 to 25 millimeters, wide 3 to 5 millimeters. It's relatively a small fluke. The tegument lacks spines and the oral sucker is larger than the ventral sucker. So this is the oral sucker larger than the ventral sucker, because you can see it is small, it is the bigger one, it is the first one. And next, the ventral sucker is located 1/5 of the way from the anterior end, of course. Here the ventral sucker, and the presence of two large deeply lobulated and branched testes with 7 branches situated in the posterior 1/3 of the body, one behind the other, and the anterior uterus. So this is what according to the structures. And next coming, this adult worm is like a sunflower seed shape, if you see here, with pointed anterior end and rounded posterior end. So you can remember it like a sunflower seed. And egg, here you can see the egg size in the 10x4 power of microscope, 10x10 and 10x40. You can see the largest structure. So the eggs are flash shaped, as of course operculated and relatively smaller in size and measure 29 to 17 millimeter. They are yellow brown, of course, because they are bile stain, containing well developed miracidium and possessing a small knob at the posterior end, giving an appearance of electric bulb. So what is that miracidium? All those we'll see here. So the shape is flash shaped like electric bulb. Of course you can see it's like an inverted electric bulb. So this is the point where the operculum, this is the shoulder, this is the shell, outer shell, and the miracidium is this one. And the knob. Actually remember, the miracidium is a ciliated embryo inside the shell of an egg. And the morphology of egg, it is flash shape, 29 to 17 millimeter. Actually, it is the smallest egg in the helminthic egg. This is remember. And one more thing, it belongs to the phylum Platyhelminthes and class Trematoda. This is important. And the color is yellow brown. Structure have a operculum, shoulders beside, thick shell, small knob at the posterior end, containing a well developed miracidium we have discussed. And here you can see the metacercia. There is an infective form of the parasite. It is found in the flesh of the freshwater fish. So the flesh of the water fish have the metacercia, which only enters into our body. Examination of metacercia in freshwater, you can see by the microscope we can see it. And now let us see the life cycle. Actually what happens is, first the man gets infected by eating undercooked or something like raw kind of fish with the metacercia. So the excision takes place in duodenum. Excision means the cyst wall gets breakdown and the metacercia comes out. That is a ciliated structure. So this metacercia penetrates the ampulla of water to reach the liver. Of course from the ampulla of water it enters into the liver and develops into adult worms. So after developing into adult worm, if you remember, it can stay up to 20 to 30 years in our liver. So it undergoes fertilization and fluke lays the operculated eggs. And these eggs, you know, from our fecal matter they come out. After they come out, see the eggs are excreted in fecal matter. So if the fecal matter, you know, in village side or some rural areas, the fecal matter is excreted in ponds or lake. So through that way it may enter into a snail which is present in a water, aquatic snail. So this is the first intermediate host. Eggs are ingested by the snail and the eggs hatch out to release the miracidium. So before releasing this miracidium, actually what happens is, the egg is, you know, it has a thick coat in the snail's body. It enters the gas enters the stomach, and where because of the gastric juices the eggshell breaks down and the miracidium comes out. As it comes out, it undergoes some changes, that is metamorphosis, and convert into a sporocyst. Now this sporocyst is having a 2 generations, that is first and second generation of radia. So this radia has some inner structures like small ceraseriae. So from the radia the ceraseriae come out like this, and they become the free motile structures in the water. And next, this ceraseriae is ingested by the freshwater fish, because in the water the ceraseriae is already present. Fish may eat any of the particle and get attached to it. So the ceraseriae enter the freshwater fish, and whenever it is encysted and forms the metaceria in the fish, this metaceria is infected to the human. So the infective form is the metaceria. That is important. And C. sinuses requires 1 definitive host and 2 different intermediate hosts. Now I think you can say it. 1 definitive host is a human, and 2 intermediate different hosts, maybe first one is the aquatic snail and the second one is the fish, freshwater fish. So for the completion of its life cycle, man or the other domestic or wild animals, also not only man, the definitive host also may be dogs, pigs, cats and rat, act as a definitive host. It requires 2 intermediate hosts, that is first freshwater snail and the second freshwater fish of the family. Yeah, this is the family Cyprindae. So this is important. And the mode of transmission is man acquires the infection by eating undercooked fish, water, harboring metacercia. So development in man, what happens? The metacercia exists in the duodenum and penetrate the intestine to reach the liver. They enter the biliary capillaries, mature into adult worms and start laying operculated eggs, as we all discussed it. So once let us review. The fully embryonated eggs are released into duodenum and excreted in the feces from the man. So the human cycle takes around 3 months. And development in snail. What happens in snail? The chlorensys hatches out inside the snail to release the miracidium, so which then penetrates the intestine of the snail and reaches the vascular space. Development in snail. The miracidium multiplies and passes through the single generation of. So as we discussed, this miracidium, sporocyst, ceraseriae and metaceria, all this takes place in the snail, except the metaceria is formed in the fish, but up to ceraseriae all are formed in the stages in the snail's stomach. So and finally converts into ceraseriae. So the first intermediate host snail, that is especially you can take Alacumina longicornis and also Porophosarlus striatulus. So you can see the pictures of them. And development in fish. In fish the ceraseriae escape from the snail host and infect the freshwater fish. After 3 weeks the ceraseriae transform into metafish. So the metacercia is only in the fish, and up to ceraseriae it takes place in the snail. When the infected fish are ingested by definitive host, the life cycle is repeated. So we understood it. So the freshwater fish, you can see more than 100 freshwater fishes are some freshwater shrimps also may be the secondary intermediate of instead of this C. sinuses. So we have discussed the life cycle. So the summary is all about the life stage. Adult worm is there in our liver, and eggs is also in our body and getting out to the fecal matter. Miracidium, which egg converts into miracidium because the shell breaks down in the snail intestine and it is ciliated structure. And next the sporocyst, radia, ceraseriae and metaceria. And definitive host human live in the bile duct. Reservoir host dogs, cats, rats. First and second intermediate hosts are freshwater snails and fish. Infective stage is metacercia. Mode of transmission by eating or ingesting raw fish with metaceria. So pathogenesis, you can see how they are affecting our liver, the worm in the bile duct. So whenever we try to remove it, we can see really a worms in the intestine. You can see how they put the holes in our liver, worms in the bile duct. And next, actually they live basis on our bile duct juices. So further nutrition. So the basic pathogenesis of infection is erosion of epithelium lining in the bile ducts, which results from mechanical irritation caused by the flukes and toxic substances produced. Because flukes prefer to reside in second order bile ducts, remember, only in second order bile ducts. So the pathological changes usually appear in the second order bile ducts, not in the first order. But in heavy infection, bladder and also sometime in pancreatic duct, flukes feed on secretion of bile duct. But remember, in gallbladder, this fluke can't live. If it enters also, it lives only in the pancreas and in liver. That's it. They cause low-grade inflammatory changes, biliary tree, proliferation of biliary epithelium, portal fibrosis. And in light infection, these pathological changes is not seen, but heavy infection will lead to bile ducts to gradually enlarge and thick. This obstruction of biliary duct by warm bodies, which leads to the bile retention and fibrosis proliferation. So what happens? Leading to hepatomegaly. So in late stages with complication, liver parenchyma only change and the liver function are interfere. Some research data show that there was a relationship between chlorhynchialsis and also biliary tract cancer, liver cancer, because we see this in most of the Chinese patients where the liver cancer is because of this chloranthiasis. And the pathogenesis: first, worm in the bile duct, it may mechanical irritation, toxic substances, erosion of the epithelium, and the proliferation in biliary epithelium, bile retention, fibrosis, cancer. And next here you can see the pathogenesis, that is a light infection, asymptomatic; heavy infection, abdominal pain, nausea, diarrhea, eosinophilia can occur. And heavy infection, cholangitis, colitis, pancreatitis, cholangiocarcinoma can develop, maybe fatal too. So cholangiocarcinoma, you can see how we took out the worms from our liver, very dangerous situation. Clinical manifestation: heavy infection, here you can see the cirrhosis of the liver and ascites, even pygmy. Hao Po Chang said that based on observation on 500 necroscopy cases, he said that there was no direct relationship between Chlorhensis sinuses infection and multilobular cirrhosis of liver. Only single lobular cirrhosis may occur, because he have found many, only that significant area may damage, but the adjacent liver tissues may not damage. So that is important, which is given by Hao Po Chang. And the clinical information, you can see pygmies, hepatomegaly, splenomegaly. So you can see how abdomen is flat, so like bloating structure. Worm in the bile ducts, here you can see the worms. And next, the histopathological findings you can find out there. And next, diagnosis. The diagnosis is by history of having strayed or been endemic areas, clinical manifestations. Correct diagnosis confirmed by the laboratory finding of the ova, that is the egg. And diagnosis is by finding small operculated eggs in our stool by direct smear method and Stahl's eggs counting method. So you can see. And also by examining bile, that drawing from duodenum aspiration, you can see. And also we have the aspirated bile, keto thick smear, Stahl's dilution, quantitative formal cell ether acetate concentration to detect moderate to heavy infections. And eggs of the cyanotis are difficult to differentiate from those of Heterophyes, Medantos, Yogang, Cambi, and also Ophistoris species. So this is somewhat difficult, but a perfect person can find it. And intradermal test, we can do IHA, ELISA for specific antibodies, and also molecular betas. We use PCR for it, for rapid high sensitivity and specificity. And the epidemiology is in almost east of the Japan. We have seen it in Japan, China, Korea, Vietnam. And the endemic areas of first and second intermediate hosts are found. Those are snails and fishes. And because of eating this raw fishes, and also growing the fishes in the fecal human fecal and animal fecal matter leads to this all things. And prevention method: always heat it and cook it, always don't eat undercooked fishes. And preventive measures, you can see, change the habit of eating, so that what. And sanitary disposal should be good, because of the fecus it may enter into snail. And also preventive measures: sanitary disposal of stool and sewage, control of snail host. And finally we have the chemotherapy, that is nothing but prevention by praziquantel has been reported for the effect of chloranthiasis, and recommended dosage is 75 milligrams per kilogram of body weight divided into 3 doses on the same day. And also we have one more thing, that is albendazole, important one. I am saying extra drug, that is albendazole, which is also found to be effective for chloranthiasis. In the case with obstructive jaundice and surgical interventions, it may not be necessary. If you like my video, please like, share and subscribe.